G'day everyone, here we are. We're back in the Winger Subaru showroom in Green Lane, and some beautiful cars here, eh? And we've got Steve from Innovision Boats here today with us. And the reason he's here, he's going to talk a bit about how Plum Bells work, why Innovisions are so good, and they've got a test day tomorrow down at OBC Boating Club, eh?
Yep. So if you have any questions and actual general interest, hop on down and go for a ride and really check out what it is all about. We can beat the drum all we like about what they do and everything, but there's nothing better than getting on one and actually seeing for yourself firsthand. So
so that's tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the OBC Boat Club. And so you just have to turn up, pretty much?
We're taking bookings, so best to get hold of sales at innovisionboats.com. And then that way we've got allocated slots. We've got about 5 boats going down there from our latest 808 walk around venture, and a 7.5 custom that was at the boat show as well, and a couple of smaller, I think a 616 and is your...
Yeah, my one's coming down.
555 down.
So I'll be down there, and I'll probably take my fishing rods, see if I can catch a few sprats in the OBC Boat Club. But if you want to come for a ride with me, I'll be there from about 11 till 2:30 because I have to pick the kids up from school. So if you want to come for a ride in my boat, might even toss a few lures around. Come down to the OBC, come and hang out with the boys, and go for a ride in Innovision. Now, Innovision Boats, mate, like I've had mine, I think about 3 or 4 years now, and I'm on to my second one, and it's the best boat ever, mate. Hey, it's like such a good boat. Like I love it. It's just like my baby. I just love it so much, how well it goes. And, you know, it's got this Plum Bell. Can you explain to people how Plum Bell affects the performance of a boat?
So the basic gist, obviously, of it is with your Plum Bell, you're getting a lot more vertical at the front, so your waterline length has moved forward, which is giving you, at displacement speeds, a lot better forward movement without so much power as well. So you're going to be a bit more economical. As we get into a bit more of your higher speeds, you'll notice that people do look at our Plum Bell and think that the waves are going through that bow itself. But if you look at the way we're actually riding, a lot of it is actually still quite a way under the boat.
I've noticed
quite under the knuckle. And even down there, the way it is very fine. So that obviously just slices through. You get a bit of chop, and she's coming up instead of hitting a bigger, flatter surface. With that finer entry, we go through it. That also, you get a lot of people commenting too about, but doesn't that mean you get bow steer, or it's going to keep going under and that? But we get around some of that by the fact of our height that we've got through our top side sheets. So basically, if you've got a big following sea or anything like that, and you're really powering through it, as you come down, push through one, and instead of just carrying on down like a lot of people think you do, we've got quite a bit of our buoyancy is through the height. So it is a little bit different in the fact that we're not just chucking up a big lot of spray and basically come into a stop as you go and hit it. We'll continue through. So the good part about it is they like to be driven quite hard. As you probably know yourself.
I've noticed,
If you go kind of slow, then you're probably going to be quite wet and roll around. But when you give it some, they actually just get up and go. So we'll continue to do sort of 30 knots in a following sea, not an issue. And that's just all to do with the fine entry. We also have the chines at the front are quite large.
They are.
So they give you a good bit of lift as well as you come through. That also helps with holding a nice sort of rail or edge. So instead of that quartering, broaching sea, your chine really digs in and holds. So instead of actually swinging you around, you generally hold a nice straight line. So between that, obviously the chop and that's made for in the Hauraki Gulf, I haven't been in anything yet that is an issue. And that's from going out into 25, 30 knots and probably up to about 1.5 meters of swell and your white capping chop with that as well. Generally from the 6.5 up to our 8s. I haven't seen anything yet that'll slow me down.
No, yeah, I've noticed that with my one. You know, if I'm cruise going about 12, 13 knots, a little bit bumpy, but as soon as because your reaction, your normal instinct is to pull back when it's pounding.
Yep.
But if you actually go a bit faster and those zip wakes start working, then it smooths out as you go faster.
Yeah.
So, you know, which goes against what you'd normally do on a boat.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but it definitely works. And those zip wakes on the back, man, they make a huge difference as well, eh?
Oh, for sure. And the fact that they're automatic as well makes it so easy for anyone. You don't have to be switched on and watching it all the time. You can set it on auto. Any of the boys are moving around in the boat, it's just going to counteract it, keep it level.
Yeah.
It also works for the pitch as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's night and day difference using them.
Yeah.
If there was one thing I could recommend, like those zip wakes are awesome.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, zip wakes, instead of the traditional trim tabs you have on the back of your boat, these are like little foils just about that work up and down, and they just like little brakes, and they're amazing. I don't like being in a boat. When I turn them off, my boat's kind of a bit sluggish. As soon as I turn them on, I feel it lift up out of the water and start going.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And so you don't have to, you know, when you're trimming a boat normally, everyone's moving around, you have to constantly on the trim. It does it all automatically for you. They really are a really good thing to have on your boat, and I don't think they're that expensive either. So if you're thinking about giving your boat a bit of a birthday even, I highly recommend whacking some zip wakes on it, eh?
Yeah, for sure. The other thing with the longer waterline length too is, if you're looking at like a 6 metre boat, or our 6 metre is probably equivalent to getting close to a 6.5, maybe a little bit more in some other brands. So when you're getting between that little bit of a chop, what's in the water is actually spanning those waves. So instead of falling in between them, you basically can ride over the top of them. We're also quite wide in the water, which gives our stability a huge benefit. Our widest point is literally immersed in the water.
Right.
So everyone goes on about pontoon boats and how stable they are, and it all comes down to displacement at the end of the day and where your centre of gravity is. And basically we have, like I say, the widest point of our boat is in the water, so to displace that, you've got to put more weight over one corner to actually let it sink so far. If you're narrower, obviously she's still a little bit tippier, so there's quite a difference between something that's 2.2 metres wide and something that's 2.5 metres wide in the water.
I'm quite interested, you mentioned centre of gravity. So where, as I know, I used to fly model planes, and centre of gravity is really important to get it right. So where is the centre of gravity on a boat? Where's it supposed to be around about?
Should be, relatively be midpoint at an assumption.
Right.
Ours come in just in front of our fuel tank.
Oh, yeah.
So everything's basically balanced out. So our floors sit with about a 1 degree fall to the rear when we're at rest, and obviously lowering everything, like our hard tops and that, everything's kind of quite low on the boat. Which also helps with the balance and everything. So you're not getting rolled around. There's nothing up top, big heavy thing just swinging around and trying to pull you over. So the lower you can get that centre of gravity, the better. So
they are very kind of unique design, and you can tell a lot of thought has gone into it. Like I get that question quite a bit about my boat. Oh, how is it going to follow in sea? Because it's got that sharp bow, and I've never had an issue ever. I've been over bars and everything. I've never had it skew off, or no, it's never happened. So for those people who are wondering, it's not an issue.
No, there's a lot of stuff out there that you can read about that people have basically referred back to the old boats where, Plum Bells were around in the 1920s, 1930s.
Yeah, they were.
That was a big thing back then, and they all drifted away from that at the high-speed planing launches started to come along, and they changed their bow shape to suit.
Right.
But the information is still based on a lot of that stuff that comes up from the 1920s.
Wow, that's cool, eh?
Times have changed, like designs have changed. So much has been learnt, and that I don't believe that information is still relevant to what is around today. If you jump on anything that's a Plum Bell, like Axopars and all of that, they've got great reviews for them. There's people out there doing their own ones, not sponsored by Axopar or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they give you a real rundown on how they perform, and
Yeah.
I kind of liken ours to a bit of a go-kart, to be honest, in the water.
Yeah. I often call my boat, it's like a little go-kart.
Yeah.
That's how I describe it to people.
So I've had a few people come out for sea trials and, you know, just be like, what do you want to do? What do you want to see it do? And we can be running around, you know, 25, 30 knots and having no issues at all with anything that pops up, whether that be the ferry wake or anything really.
Yeah.
We can throw it through turns quite tight.
Yeah.
Bordering on, not as good as a jet boat, but
Yeah.
you know, certainly tighter than any other boat I've ever been on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like in a design. I always, when I go in mine, I say, "Why? I reckon in 10 years' time, why wouldn't all boats be like this? Like they're just better. They definitely perform better than the normal tinny, because normal tinnies with that bow like that, it's just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even like going to some of the tinnies with the normal bows, just because I get, you know, it's like being on a roller coaster ride sometimes. So once you go on a boat with a plum bow, you kind of don't want to go on boats with normal bows anymore. That's how I feel about it. Like, people invite me out in their boat, it's almost like, oh, what kind of bows it got?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go out and get pounded. But if I'm in a plum bow, I know I'm not going to hurt my back at all.
Yeah.
It's like a massive difference, eh?
And knees as well.
Knees as well, but you don't get that bang, bang, bang. You don't get it at all.
So I think some of that comes down to, well, just that fine entry is one to go through it, but it just don't even know where I was going with that one, to be honest.
Oh, right. You lost your train of thought. That happens to me a lot. I think we're just talking about how it's actually a really fine bow, so it cuts rather than slants. But you know, it's just basic physics to me. Like, say that's the normal bow, if you guys can see that, or let's say, what can we say, a boat? That's a bow of a boat. So plum bow's like that, and so the water bangs into there, but it's fine and it goes backwards. A bow that's got that, it's like a perpendicular angle to the force, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it sprays and then goes up and over you and you get wet.
Yeah.
And with the plum bow, it just goes backwards. There's no force going forwards. It's all going back.
Yeah. So even on trips I've had back from like the Mokuhinaus, 25 knots in one of our 6.5s.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a quartering sea on that and wind from behind as well. It was one of my first initiations into trialing a plum bow and an Innovision.
Yeah.
And Simon just gave me the helm and he was like, you know, try it, practice. And so I started off with normally be like that kind of conditions, maybe doing 22 knots sort of thing in most boats that I've been in. And I find myself flying along at 27.
Yeah.
And then he's just like watching the sea state going and a following sea, generally people are looking behind, but the speeds that you can do, it changes that following sea into more like an oncoming because you're just going one to the next. Yeah. So it was, like I say, it was eye-opening. So I've been with the company for another 4 years since then. Yeah. And I haven't looked back for sure. No. Even that was it was dry. I was sitting at the back of the boat just for a laugh and just seeing if I could get wet. And
Nah, you don't get wet in my boat.
I was on the gunnels at the back.
Well, I actually show off. I go past normal tinnies in my boat, and then you're going bang, bang, and I was going straight past them. I'm not getting wet or nothing. Yeah. It really is like night and day. Yeah. Yeah.
So it does, like I say, it makes it hard to go on someone else's boat.
It does, mate. It does. So if you want to come for a ride in one of these boats, for those of you who are just joined in, tomorrow at the OBC, which is on Tamaki Drive, between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m, you can come down and go for a ride. There'll be 5 Innovisions there. We recommend that if you want to come, you can either turn up and hope you get a slot, or you can book by emailing sales@innovisionboats.com. If anyone's watching of our team, if you could maybe post that link up. If you're watching Hannah, that would be great. And so we talk a little bit about fishing, and then we'll talk about some boats some more. Mate. Yeah, so the fishing is still hot. It's the area that I've been going to, which the fish have been holding for quite a while now, is 2 or 3 miles northeast of Anchorite Rock. There's big fish now. We're catching 70 centimetre ones just about every time we go out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I thought I'd show you our new, the headbanger lure, which you guys helped us name. So that's it there. But I'd show you, it's like 2 pieces. So you've got the head. You can see this has been smashed to smithereens. Let's see if it'll focus. Might focus. Oh, there you go, just about. So that's the head, and this is the tail. It's got a special slot in it, and you put the hook through like that. Can you guys see that? And then you just pop it on. And they come glued on like that, but you can actually buy, we're providing, or you can purchase special glue to glue them in place. And I reckon they last about 10, 20 fish, and if they get ripped off, you can just put a new one on. So, bit different, you do have to super glue them, but I just do it all at home before I go. So like there's my box, so I just have them all ready to go. And if a tail falls off, I just pull out another one, and then when I get home, I glue them all back on again. But you can see, look at these, Steve. They've just been demolished by snapper. They've just got so many teeth marks over them. And so these are the headbangers, guys. I reckon they're about, I don't know, a month away. We've got some shops taking orders for them already.
How many colours you got?
We've got 4 colours. And the interesting thing is, this is the red colour seems to be the best. Where normally it's orange, you're a bit of a fisherman, Steve, orange lures all day. But the red one, so it's actually how these came about is a lure designer in Spain that I kind of swap notes with, and we always talk about lure design and stuff. He told me, red, man, you got to use red. So I've been using red, and he's right. They do catch the bigger fish. And so in the workup's really good, really good. Yeah. You don't get so my fishing style's kind of changing on my lure selection. I'm thinking about, when the fish are really active, I'm using this lure, which doesn't get as many bites, and it's got a bigger hook, so it doesn't catch as many, but the ones that come along are normally bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I use this one. My next level down is a G-bomb and a jelly baby, so that's kind of in between. And then when the fishing's slow and you're trying to get that bite happening, I'm using sliders or G-bombs just with the regular tail. So now I've got kind of 3 stages of lures. I've got the ones to start catching the fish with when it's a bit harder. Then I've got the ones to move on to target the bigger fish. And then when there's a frenzy, I move on to those. That's how I'm kind of doing it.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a strategy behind the fish now. And there's still a few of those milky fish out there. And this one doesn't seem to catch the milky ones because, they're the big ones. You get lots of bites from the little ones where they're pulling the tail, but it's a big hook. So the little ones don't get caught, and you actually strike. And it's heaps of fun. So those are called headbangers, and they're going to be here in about a month's time.
They look like they work quite well on the Kuiper as well with the weight behind them.
Yeah, a few people have said that to me. So you live out on the Kuiper, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, would you do much fishing out there?
Not as much as I'd like to be honest.
Right.
Work gets in the way of that.
Yeah.
But, generally as much as I can. So normally through our summer period, it'll be out at least once a week. And apart from that, it dwindles a little bit. But
right.
I spend most of my time going out west coast for marlin and that. I'm kind of game fishing.
Oh, game fishing, into game fishing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, Innovision's pretty good for game fishing, eh?
We're going to find out this coming season. I've got a few owners who are quite keen to go out west.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we'll hopefully get a few planned to get out there, and then once that fades off, we'll go chase some swords towards the winter. Yeah. And so it'll be a good chance. We've got a few of the Innovisions going out west these days now, from all the way down Taranaki and out of Raglan, and another one coming this year to the Huia area. So
nice.
We'll be seeing a few around. Yeah,
I'm definitely seeing more Innovisions out there now these days. Yeah. You can definitely pick them. You can see them because they're a different shape.
Yeah, and they stand out.
They do stand out. I think some people like the shape of the design or how it looks. Some people don't. Yep. But to me, it's all about performance. Performance trumps looks in my department. So it's all about performance to me, and it just goes really well.
Some of that comes down to your personal preference, obviously.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first saw these boats, I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah. You do get
and because it was nothing that had ever been seen in this country before.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm around them all the time.
Yeah.
They're just a normal boat to me. In the fact of nothing looks abnormally different.
Yeah.
And I just see one, I'm just like, oh, here's another Plum Bell.
Yeah, there's a few of them around now, eh?
You definitely notice when you get in them.
My prediction is you're going to see more brands doing them. Yeah. Because they are better. Yeah. Well, I think they're better, and that's my personal opinion. So I can't see why other other brands won't start doing it too.
No, there's a few popping around in New Zealand.
Yeah, there's a few popping around, but you guys are the first or the second?
First? Might have been the first.
Might have been the first in New Zealand to do the tinny with the Plum Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even looking Aussie, there's a brand over there that does them, and they're sold to like the military, I think military or the police.
Right.
So they're using, because there's nothing better to ride out there when it turns shit.
There's nothing better to ride, man. And it's all that extra space that you get as well. Because if you guys think, I don't know if I can explain this, say that's your boat, that's your bow, is that looking about right? So that's your bow, so you can't use all this room up here, but a Plum Bell, all of a sudden you've created all this extra space, and you can, like I'm fishing right up on the bow, and I've still got, this much leg height to lean against, and I'm, that far away from the bow.
Yeah.
So you just create all this extra room. If you've got kids and dogs and stuff, it's like heaps of room.
And same like with our Explorers, instead of the walk around or center console that you've got.
Yeah.
Because everything can move forward, our bunks move forward, then our dash can move forward as well.
Yeah.
Basically getting a bigger cockpit for the size of boat.
You do.
And yeah, so you can get a 5.5 metre and you're comfortably fishing 4 people easily. And you're not shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, no, I can fit 4 on my boat easily. Yeah. Even my 515, I would take 3 or 4 people out in and it was fine. And that's a 5.15 metre boat.
Yeah.
I went to North Cape in it. I've been to Barrier in it.
Yeah.
Been to the Mokes in it. I've been over to the graveyard in it.
Yeah, I've had
not a problem.
I've had one out to the trench out behind Poor Knights.
Have you?
Yeah.
There you
so
go.
There to go.
Yeah.
Confident as with those, that's for sure.
Yeah. So once again, guys, tomorrow's the day. OBC, Tamaki Drive, between 11 a.m. and 5. I'll be there with my boat. Steve won't be there because he's running the Innovision workshop at the moment.
Yep.
But the other guys are going to be there with their boats, and they're going to take you for rides. Bring your kids, come down.
Yeah. See what it's actually about.
Just see what it's like. Just come for a ride, and then I promise you, you might start thinking about a Plum Bell.
Yep.
Yeah. And fishing this weekend, I've noticed this new weather pattern is lots of westerlies. So guys, there's places to go. When you look on Swell Map, you see all those reds. Don't always, take note of it, but start drilling in a bit to those maps and seeing where there's actual areas of shelter, because they won't tell you, 200 or 300 metres off Waipu and a westerly is actually quite calm. Down in the Firth of, once you get down in the Firth of Kawa, it's quite calm down there. Along the bays, off Orewa Beach, off Snell's Beach, all those areas can be very sheltered in a westerly wind. So, drill into those weather charts and don't be put off by those red symbols, because quite often, sorry Swell Map, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's just so wrong. I've been out there and you're red and it's flat calm. So make sure you look at other apps as well besides Swell Map, because in my eyes, you guys are over forecasting a bit lately.
Yeah. Yeah, so normally go through about 3 different weather maps.
Yeah, I do Coast Guard, I do Swell Map, but I don't look on those graph things anymore. I look on the maps, then I look on Windy as well.
Yeah.
And you can get areas where can be 20 knots one place, and down the coast like 4 or 5 miles it's like 10 knots. But you won't see that on the graphs. You've got to dial into the maps, which I've shown you before, and on YouTube there's a video on there how to dial into these little weather windows. But I think it's important, if we're going to have a few westerlies this summer, to make sure you know how to read it, and always, the outgoing tide as well. Westerly winds, outgoing tide flattens it right out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't need to worry about it too much if you're an Innovision, mate?
No. Wind gets tight,
so hopefully there's a bit of chop tomorrow for these sea trials, which everyone's welcome to. Once again, 11 a.m, OBC tomorrow. Everyone's welcome to come for a ride. Hopefully there is a bit of chop so we can show you.
Yeah.
We can actually show you, because that's what we want. We want, most guys, most boat people I've worked with, they want to take you for a sea trial that's nice and calm, sunny, flat day. These guys, they wait for the bad weather to take you out, to show off how good it is. So what boat brand does that? Takes you out in rough weather? Not many.
No.
Not many. They're not confident.
Most people are a bit scared of showing that.
But scared of showing that. So these guys are keen. All right. Well, that's about it, mate.
Sweet.
Thanks for coming along.
No worries.
Hopefully we can see some of you down there tomorrow. I'll be there. Might even tell you a joke. Might get I'll have my fishing rod, so you can have a cast of my fishing rods. Come for a ride in a boat. Maybe we can catch a sprat or a mullet in the marina.
Might even get a lucky kingy in there.
Might get a lucky kingy. Might even go out to those, all those poles out there.
Yeah.
See if we can catch a trev. So if someone wants to come for a go with me, come down tomorrow and we'll see what we can do. And thank you, Winger Subaru, let me show you around this showroom. This is where we hang out. Lots of nice cars here. I think people are waiting until after the election to buy cars and boats and everything. So let's see what happens this weekend. And we'll be back soon. And thanks, Steve, for coming along.
No worries, thank you for having me.
Please come down and see us tomorrow. We'd really appreciate seeing you. And thanks, Wingasabaru, for having us. It's always good. See ya.
Cheers.